to order. Okay, calling our meeting to order. First, let's have Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Caitlin, if you want to do the executive director's report.
I sure will. Thank you, Dr. Grinstead. First and foremost, we do have some new faces on the call, so welcome to some of our new board members. And we are entering our 5th year of this academy, if you can believe that, which is kind of crazy to me. Some of you all have been along for this ride the whole time, so thanks for being here. I appreciate it. It's 5 years of these really interesting meetings. So here we are, but thank you for being here and welcome to all of the new folks that we have. Our current enrollment for R7VA, we are at roughly 850 in-division students for the region. If you were to break that down, that's roughly 600 Stride, 200 Imagine Learning, and then the remaining are split between Edmonton and full-time virtual Virginia. Something to note is that we have hundreds of virtual Virginia singleton placements. We don't count those as R7 students because they're not full-time virtual learning at home. And we don't have out of division in that number because they are not students that reside in Region 7. I think our number is at 4,000 right now for out of division students. It tends that our numbers sit right at 800 to 900. I think in division for the last 4 years, that's where we've been, and that's exactly where we are right now. Out of division is always it's always a really, really large number in those multiple of thousands. So I think Region 7 takes 4,000 plus, but we will have a formal number on that at that 10-1 count date. So 850 in division, roughly 4,000 plus out of division. So for those of you who don't know this about me, I was a math teacher before I was an assistant principal in the Washington County, and then now taking on this role. So I always like to throw in some math every now and then to things I'm doing. This year alone, if all of the Stride students only, so if all 600 of those Stride students had gone to virtual learning outside of R7, we would have lost in the region alone roughly $3.5 million. So it's always good. And that's me taking out the price that we pay for their instruction. So and I base it on a 9,000 per student expenditure. So 9,000 per student, that's from the state and federal. We pay 3,000 roughly of that into their schooling with the provider, and you're still left with, that change with, if you equate it for 850 kids, is 3.5 million. So just as something to think about. I also want to touch on the fact that 420 students we denied. And why is this number important? Because we have the oversight to deny those students. If we didn't have this arrangement and we didn't have that ability to deny those kids, that would be an additional 3.8 million that would be gone because they would have been automatically accepted. So really interesting. It's a big number when you look at it as a region. So I haven't thrown out those numbers in quite some time. So I wanted to do that today. A pretty big chunk of change. I get this question frequently. How do I get a student in virtual now? So as you can imagine, the school year has started. We have finally gotten to a pace where it's manageable. But if you do still want to get a student in, you can. And that would just go through the local principal, and then they would come to me for approval. But it is still possible. I get that question quite frequently. So if they still wanted to, they could. And we are approaching the 10-1 count date. 10-1 count date is when Stride would do their billing. And I use Stride primarily because they are who we house the most students with. So if a student is enrolled on 10-1, we pay for them as a division. So in the next 2 weeks, we will begin removing students who aren't meeting expectations, compliancy concerns, that sort of thing. So that 10-1 count date is actually quickly approaching. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else as it pertains that's not already. I think that is all, Dr. Grinstead, but happy to take any questions.
Anyone have any questions?
Hey, Caitlin, it's Rob. Are you still working with Kenny on the 5,000 number to get the discount for all of the divisions?
Still working on that number, but capacity's changed this year. And as I understand it, we would have to have one more out of division partner in order to have a maximum cap that would put us over that number, but I could be wrong.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, if there's no other questions, will you do the fiscal agent report, please?
I will. You have financials up through August that are in the email from Tammy. We recently paid out $1,500 for one of the action items that I'm going to speak to you on. Other than that, we are sitting right where we're supposed to be. We will start to get the first round of provider payments probably after this first quarter. So at middle of October, 1st of November, we'll start to see those payments from the providers come in to make that number where it needs to be. And then as a reminder, we invoice Stride for $35,000 at the end of the year. They pay that annually. So I have two divisions that lack the annual $5,000 payment. I'll speak to those superintendents tomorrow at the superintendent meeting. But other than that, we are nothing major to report in terms of finances.
Okay. Did we get our last member for a quorum?
We did. Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, then let's do our action items. We need first approval of the minutes from January 16th, 2025 and April 24th, 2025 meetings. Any questions from any members? If not, I hear a motion to accept those minutes.
I'll make the motion. This is Chris Stacy.
Okay. Do I have a second, please?
Second, Leah Hank.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. We got our minutes approved. Now, approval of adding Virginia Cyber Academy as a provider.
So that one comes with a little bit of conversation. So towards the start of this school year, several of our divisions were approached by this provider to provide instruction. They offered a little bit of a different offering than we'd seen in the past because they allow the division to use one of their teachers for the online content. So they had a little bit of a different offering, but they also were pursuing Region 7 fairly hard. So we just kind of decided that the best option would be to loop them in to R7 so that if any of our divisions wanted to use them, they could. Aside from the $1,500 that the whole academy will pay on behalf of the divisions, there's no additional payment that's required for them unless a division places a student with them. It's no additional cost to our divisions other than that. So I just need a formal approval that we will add. It's my recommendation that we add them as a provider. They submitted a request for proposal, and I have all of the details there in the email from Ms. Jones as well.
Ms. Casman.
Okay, so
Sorry, Ms. Hank, go ahead.
I was just curious, you said if no one adds a student to them, there's no additional cost. If someone does add a student, what is the additional cost?
Great question. It depends on the grade level, and it's no additional cost if it's out of your division. So let's say Norton City adds a student, it's no impact on Galax.
Thank you.
any other questions? Okay, do I hear a motion that we approve adding Virginia Cyber Academy as a provider?
So moved. It's Rob.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second. This is Chris Galvey.
Okay. Okay. No further discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, it is approved to add Virginia Cyber Academy as a provider. Okay, 6 on our agenda is contracted hourly support.
Okay, I've waited 5 years to bring this one up. So, so here we go. At the beginning of the year, it is very difficult to manage all of the moving parts. I think it would be beneficial for the academy, and I could maybe take it off of some of the divisions that do this already, if I had the ability to contract someone out to help me with the enrollments. I don't need them for anything else or really all year. I've got it, it's pretty handled up to the end, but it would be helpful if I had the ability to hire someone hourly for the start of the school year. So I think my discussion here is just thoughts or considerations on that topic. I would bring a formal proposal to our next meeting for us as an action item. And maybe no one wants the position. I don't know. And I think we'd really have to think about how we pay them, because I think the person or the person who does it needs to obviously have an understanding of how enrolling works, and that may be hard to find, but of course we can train them. But I just would like the option to maybe throw that out for next school year, to start next school year. So just open for discussion, thoughts.
But how long would you need this employee?
Good question. I think August and September, and they wouldn't be full-time. So I could probably work them 10 hours a week for the first 2 months, maybe less than 10 hours if I really train them well. And we'd have to discuss, hourly rate, how we fill that position, how it's paid out, all of those things. But I would like to be able to put a proposal together if the board feels that's appropriate.
Would this be something that could be like a contracted service just for that period of time? And is there maybe a particular division that helps you well with that? Or because finding somebody to do that part-time for a couple of months in that regard would be difficult.
That is true. Ideally, yes, it is a contracted position. And I mean, we certainly can't determine who would be selected before it's out. But I do think that there are people within divisions that are already doing this, right, for their own division, and maybe on their weekends could do it for the remainder. It's possible.
Caitlin, I think some of us that have out of district students are, certainly working with Stride to do that too. So we'd probably, we could entertain. I would be interested to see a proposal. I know how hard it is at the beginning of the year for you, especially when you're dealing with, close to 5,000, 6,000 students.
I just want to be able to support divisions. And right now I personally enroll the students, meaning I select the classes for roughly half of our divisions, which means that the other half have someone in-house that is selecting those courses. So number one, it would take it off of not just my plate, but those divisions that currently have someone in-house. It would free up that person as well. Because ideally, the person that we hire for this does all of those enrollments of like literally selecting the classes from a drop down, right, for each student, making the student accounts, all things that I currently do for the majority of our divisions, but not all of them. This person could do for all divisions if the division wanted to. Some may want to keep it in-house. I totally understand that too. But it's food for thought.
Ms. Casme, Leah Hank here. One other question.
Sure.
Do you have capacity within your budget now to cover that type of position, or would this be an additional cost?
That's a great question. I think if enrollment stays as it has, we would have enough in our budget right now to cover this position. If we were to see a dramatic drop but maybe at that point we wouldn't need the position anyway, right? But if we were to see a drop at the start of next year, it would be cutting it close. But I've been able to accrue some monies over the course of the last few years that would definitely jumpstart this position. It's for such a short period of time too. It's not going to be a huge dollar amount.
No benefits.
No benefits, and fully contracted. Not even someone that's where I think we're going to have to get creative in terms of how we write it up. But I can take care of that.
Okay. Any other questions?
So following,
And I hear,
sorry, I actually don't need a motion, Dr. Grinstead. So following this discussion, I will create a proposal at the next meeting for that would be the time that we would vote on it as needed, if that's okay.
okay, thank you. Do we have any comments from our board members? Any questions? Okay, our date of our next board meeting will be January 15th, 2026. Do I hear a motion to accept that as our next meeting date, please?
So moved via Hank.
Have a second?
I will second that. Gina Wolford.
Okay. Okay, thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, so our next meeting will be January 15th, 2026. Since it'll be January, I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving and a happy Christmas and joyous New Year. Do I hear a motion that we adjourn?
I'll make that
I'll
motion.
make,
Second.
Second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. I always know these meetings are tricky, so thank you. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate everybody. Thank you. Well, I'm having a hard time getting out of here.